Hello and welcome to Dario's Comic School, and today we take a look at illustrations, but more than that, this video will be called You Learn by Being in the Trenches, and what I mean by that I will tell you in a second. So, as you can see, this week's I had some illustrations, and this is the first page of my comic RockNRoll Vampires, but well, I wanted to have a bit more time to draw it, but I have just a month to draw it, and I thought to myself, okay, let's do it. I think I can handle it. And so I'm putting artwork every day, and there is a big, beautiful lesson here. And the lesson is you get better by doing more or better or daily or by having a routine, which might sound a bit stupid. Like sometimes, well, if you ask yourself, man, Dario, you draw very good. I would love to draw like you draw. And the answer to that is, well, you gotta expose yourself to the elements. You need to start picking up your pen and start drawing to the best of your ability, and then get better and better and better. That's the process. There is no skipping the process. So if you want to get big in the gym, you do it by going to the gym. And I will show you a couple of things and what I've learned in my own process. So let's start. I don't know. Yeah, well, I know. And please stick around for this page, because probably not my best comic page, but I drew it in like 2 hours. I just wanted to see what I could get out of me. Maybe I redraw it, but a lot was learned this week. As you can see, I'm not drawing on copy paper. Yeah, I kind of loved the paper I used for my art commissions. And on the back side, as you can see, this is like the structured side, and the back side, it's very beautiful, and it's kind of like Bristol board, but more to that in a second. So let me start this. So a couple of days or weeks ago, I'm starting to cleaning up my room because I want to move to a bigger apartment and have better equipment, better scanner, bigger Bristol board. We will come to that in a second. What you can do with bigger paper, more space, allows you to have more and better detail, to plan out the things a bit better. Because sometimes on a small canvas, you cannot expand your full potential or horizon. But that's just like my opinion. So I sold on eBay a painting, a picture, a commission, and it was Star Wars. It was Han Solo, and he was saying to Leia, "I know," when she says, "Han, I love you." And there was Boba Fett and Darth Vader, so I sold that. And I thought to myself, okay, I give workshops, I do draw commissions and get money for that, but what I like is like drawing my own stuff and then probably sell it. Like stuff I have fun drawing, and then I draw it better because I love it, and maybe I can sell it. So I went with some popular stuff I like and which might sell. Am I a sellout? Totally. So then I started, I don't know when, last week, I started painting up a towel riptide, and to each of these paintings there is each a lesson. So I wanted to draw a towel riptide. It's a miniature, it's a big mech, and there is a small dude sitting up here, and when you hit this dude there is a shield, and it's a beautiful shield. You can see the explosions here, and here's the shield, and the shield has really beautiful lines, but I wanted to have the shield here in front, and this thing has a big cannon and rocket launcher, and it's a big mech or mecha. And this is only on A4, as you can see. So the lesson kinda, like when I zoom out here, as you can see, there is my headphones always plopping in. As you can see, like this looks very different. Look at this. Like you have here A4 and you have here A4 and you have here A4 and here A4. So what I would say is the lesson is this, which I sometimes have to relearn. If you have big motifs, but small paper, I think you have to zoom in a little. Because although this is a beautiful illustration, it's really like tiny. Like you cannot, I think I couldn't capture the full scope of this huge, gigantic mech. Like this Space Marine, I think is just as big as the foot of this giant robot. And then I was using acrylic paint and I was pretty happy with that. But when I start drawing and layouting, like my black and white drawing is or are really strong. Like as you can see, this looks pretty decent. I have a good feeling for black, white, and all the other stuff. And when you start putting in colors, those colors can start to soak up your contrasts. And that is a problem because a painting just pops, and we will discuss that in the next video, in which the topic will be framing, lighting, and color grading or color like in the movies. But I wouldn't say that that is just for movies, because I see it in many great comics and they use the same techniques, and I will show you. So here, once I put in the color starts to, I don't know, take away some of the contrast, and we'll come to that. So lesson learned here. I liked it, but it's a big motif on a small page. I cannot feel the epicness. I wanted the shield, but then like this shield gets soaked up, and yeah, I'm not super happy with this drawing. And yeah, so if you want to buy something, let me know. Then there was the second thing. I was just, this one has a pretty big motif. Is a friend of mine with his guitar, and once this is painted up, as you can see, this fits the page perfectly, kinda. It has the perfect size. And here we have a motif that's a bit smaller, and we'll see about this, but again, a bit too little. For A4, it should be as big as possible. And then I was drawing, or better said, finishing up motifs I had started. Like this was just painted to the face and the guitar, very rudimentary, but this is a good friend of mine and I didn't see him for a long time and I might visit him today. So I painted it up, and I learned a lot. And as you can see, we have here like heavy blacks and white. And I was watching YouTube videos about making great movies, or like making them feel great, or even paintings, even pictures. And what they have in common is that they have, I don't know if it's called the white balance, but there's like white, like true white here, and there's black, black, black. And if you have this contrast between white and black, let's say white and black, or white and black here, like the picture or the illustration pops a bit better. The feet I have to tighten up a bit. But as you can see here, we have some heavy blacks right here, and so the white pops and the color pops. And I had a version where here I had a bit more white and it looked better. You need a balance between the blacks and the whites on your page, and also between the saturated or desaturated parts of the coloring, or let's call it like color and white. Like you need a certain balance between brightness, like the contrast, and then the color. It's very important. And so I drew this and I was very happy, and I drew this up with some very cheap aquarels, and I thought to myself, oh, okay, so this worked. Maybe I should try a bigger illustration with some cheap aquarels, but they did muddy up some of my details, and I wasn't happy about that. And also, like, the color was a bit fuzzy, and it did cause a bit of kind of noise in my eyes. And also, as you can see, I used for this picture the structured side, and although I'm happy with the motif here with this Dark Angel Space Marine, I am not happy with the structure and with the color quality, because it muddied up a lot of my inks and pencil lines, and I had to go over again. And yeah, that was a bit taxing. So, and that's the next lesson, like you learn bit by bit. On the next thing, or in the next commission, as you can see here, this is the structured side. I took the plain white side. For this one, I didn't use my cheap aquarels because they didn't hold up the second time. And instead, I used my Games Workshop acrylic paints, and they did a great job. I really love how they flow on the paper, what they do, how they feel, how they move. And on this painting, I was pretty much happy with the paper quality, with the smoothness, with my inks. But on this one, I wasn't really happy on the colors, and not the colors I did put in, but on the color values. Let me explain. When I was drawing this black and white, it had a great balance in darkness and in brightness. Like white and black were kind of perfect. It looked really good. Then I started to put in the blues, and it still looked very great. But then on this bolter or double bolter, I don't know, like here it's just gray in gray. And when I didn't put in the color, this really popped. It had some blacks, as you can see here. And where now there is the gray, it was white, and it had some great contrast. It just popped. Or here on this arm, this where my finger goes around, and where I did put in some whites, it had much more white. It had like bright spots, and it looked better. It looked better when there is contrast, when there is color contrast, and when there is brightness contrast. So although I'm happy with this, I'm not happy that the gray soaked up all the contrast of the gun, and that the blue soaked up almost all the contrast of the three-dimensional shape of the Space Marine. It made it kind of flat, because like my color is flat. So as you can see, my hands are flat, but if I am turning them this angle, let's turn the hand around. You see, like this is a flat surface, but now this side is a bit brighter, and so you have contrast. This is wider, this is darker, and it gets more interesting. Or you can see here, this is like red, and this is like metal and blue. If both were red, it would be like symmetrical and even, but in this way, it is kind of more interesting. There is nuance to it, and so yeah, that is what I'm leading up to. And then I'm putting together the story for the RockNRoll Vampire Hunters, and Steve Sluzalek, I will link him down below. He said he already started with it, and so I thought to myself, okay, maybe I don't need like very, very great layouts. Maybe I can put out what I have in my head, because like the first page, I wanted to have this Buick driving down the road, and now I don't know what's better, like how it should look, because like as you can see, I kind of stretched the Buick. It maybe looks stupid. Maybe I can cut it off here somewhere. I don't know. Or maybe I want to redraw it again, or maybe I draw it like this. Or maybe I leave it like that. It is pretty strange, but I didn't have the proper pictures of the Buick, which would have entailed research, preparation, maybe drawing on a bigger page to get in more details, because like this is on A4 and this is a US comic format, and so there's just a limited space for me to move around. And tell me what you think. But at least I started. I did put in all the elements I wanted, like the song, the mood. I started to put in text panels, and as you can see, a bit wonky, a bit bigger than I wanted them to be. Usually you put in some lines and create a grid for where your text goes. I thought I could wing it. I winged it, but I don't know. It probably doesn't look good. And so, by being in the trenches, by being in the ring, by being in the gym of doing stuff, you learn what works and what doesn't work. So there's often an analysis paralysis. But the people that get good, they are constantly putting themselves out there, and your feedback is instant. I can tell you again already. I'm happy with the text, but I would do it differently. I'm happy with the page, but I would do it differently. I'm happy with how it turned out, but I would do it differently. And if you put out a page a day, or 3 pages or 4 pages a week, or if you force yourself to be in the trenches and to draw, paint, you will inevitably get better very fast. Not by the time you put in, but by the experiences, by the looks, and also like probably if you could ask somebody how to do it better, they would tell you. Not that, I mean, I can do it. This is not a commercial or something like this, but the arts used to have people who supervised them or who mentored them. It was like there was always a master and an apprentice, and once the master died or the apprentice left to become his own master, he then took on an apprentice. And it's been the way for Greg Capullo, although I'm sure he taught himself a lot, but he always references John Romita Sr. and John Romita Jr. references his father, and Andy Kubert and Adam Kubert reference their father, Joe Kubert, as their mentor. And you can see that mentoring goes a long way. Again, it's not a commercial. It's just saying that once we changed the system, we had now a lot of wannabe artists, maybe like myself, who have potential, but who don't really know what to do, where to go. But a lot of my growth came from meeting Ralph Niese, and he guided me along the way, and that was very, very beneficial. So we'll wrap this up. Sorry that it's so long, but yeah, I hope you had fun. Next video is coming the next few days, and tell me if you want to know something I didn't cover yet, and tell me what you think about this car design. I don't know. We'll see.